Marty, here he is, Nick Riewoldt.
Looking stunning as always.
For the last time.
I know. For the last time this year, we're taking next week off.
I can't believe that.
It's just a survey break. We don't.
It's just amazing.
We don't sort of pick what time of the year we
Biggest
get to
week
have
of the year in Melbourne. And you're not here.
Well, Thursday and Friday are public holidays. We wouldn't have been here anyway.
Oh, okay.
Dead Set Legends boys are going to take over for the first few days next week. I'm not sure what their schedule looks like, but they'll have a fantastic time. And in the meantime, we've got your stunning presents.
How good.
One more week.
One more.
Geelong v Brisbane tonight. This is going to be a belter.
Prelim final weekend is the purest weekend of footy.
Yes.
Because we don't have all the corporate overlay of grand final week. It's the highest stakes, obviously, outside of grand final week, and it's all the true fans. So I love prelim final weekend. I mean, you work all year. This is why.
Yeah, it goes so quickly.
It goes so quick. It does. The finals have flown, and we've been delivered an absolute treat so far. So I'm pumped for this weekend. Tonight's going to be huge. Your boys will. What? Oh. Okay.
Oh, no.
He's nervous.
He's very...
It's a real glass half empty kind of.
He's very nervous.
That's how I've operated this whole finals.
And you feel like that's sort of
it's working.
The secret.
It's working. And he's got his magic jumper from 96 as well that he's wearing.
Craig Starcevich's old
The one time you did get your hopes up, you were smashed by Richmond.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And
the way I look at the four teams to the left, Brisbane are the outlier because at this stage, and you only need to look at the first couple of weeks of finals, is Brisbane haven't been able to deliver what the other teams have. So they beat Richmond in a shootout.
Yep.
So, defence is what's going to win you the games most often. So they won that game in a shootout, and then the first half against Melbourne, probably the first quarter and a half, they were pretty average, the Lions.
Sure.
They can't afford that tonight. Not against the best team in the competition. So Geelong, numbers-wise, they're the number one team at scoring from turnover. So when they win the ball back off the opposition, they're the best team in the competition at scoring. When the other team win the ball back, Geelong are the best team in the competition at defending.
Good stats.
So that's only been done once in the last decade, and that was by Richmond in 2019. They won the grand final by 89 points this year.
Where are you finding these stats?
Oh, we've got a guy from Champion Data called Daniel Hoyne who finds all the stuff that matters.
Yeah.
Because you can throw stats at anything and make it mean something. I mean, 60% of people know that.
Yeah. Hey, bag! You're doing your own writing.
Yeah,
That was
a little bit on the
That's right,
side.
you did.
Yeah, a little best on ground stuff. So we've got, we get all the information that actually matters, and that's a really, really big one because the turnover game is where games are won and lost. So if Brisbane can't deliver what they delivered in the second half last week against Melbourne, which was unbelievable pressure, bodies flying, full commitment to the contest, then they're not a chance of winning the game.
Were you happy that Berry was given the pass to play?
I was because it's very easy to sit there and cast judgment from the comfort of your couch or whatever.
Yeah.
But when you've got a 90-kilo guy
in your face
with his arm across your neck or your throat,
well
then, logical thinking at times goes out the window.
I agree.
So I think that needed to be taken into consideration. I didn't think it was a malicious action, so I'm glad he's playing. And I think it's...
he had a good game, didn't he?
He had a great game. He did this year what no one really has been able to do this year, which was go head-to-head with Oliver, not just curtail him.
No.
But he won 20-plus possessions himself in the second half.
Yeah,
he was one of the big drivers.
He was.
He played like Oliver.
He did. Oliver.
Yeah, which is astounding.
Awesome.
Since the pre-finals bye 2016, Geelong have a history of giving up some big quarter-time leads in first quarters of these prelims when they've had this big one in 27-day break. Do you think there's a bit of that jitteriness? Do you think it'll be on their minds?
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah, I mean, the players are human, and as much as we'll hear that, we've just got to focus on the process and all of that sort of stuff. I love listening to Chris Scott because I think he's just real. The way he lays it out, and he said we've never been better placed. So for all, I think eight prelims they've made in Chris Scott's time, they've only won 2 of them. But he's right. They have never been better placed. Everything that they've done leading up to tonight this year has been so deliberate. They've tinkered with their game style. They've rested players. It's all for tonight. But the one game in 27 days is something that I never encountered as a player because we didn't have
crazy. I don't like it.
It is a bit crazy. But that's where you rely on your squad so much, your full squad of 40.
And they're a mature
45.
squad, Geelong. And they've
are.
been in this situation. They've been in this 1 in 27-day situation as well.
Yep.
I mean, if ever there was a group that should handle it, this is the group, and they really need strong leadership.
And I think the thing that's a little bit different about Geelong this year, you mentioned the leaders, is every year since Paddy Dangerfield, as an example, got to Geelong, every year this time of year we're talking about, does he have to play forward? Does he have to play midfield?
Yeah.
He's probably got to get 25 and kick 3. We're not even talking about it because he's just the sum of all parts now for Geelong. They've been able to find a much more even spread forward of the ball in the middle with guys like Atkins and that. So
Dangerfield and Selwood started on the bench pretty much every quarter against
they did,
Collingwood.
which I'd love to have heard that conversation.
Yeah.
You know,
Tough one.
it's a brave man, but Chris Scott. But they're all in as a team. So look, I think they're just so well placed. Chris Scott said it himself, which is a pretty big thing for the coach to come out and say. So that the excuse book is empty. I expect them to get it done reasonably comfortably tonight.
Oh, big call. I love that stuff from you.
That's what the Lions want.
Let's come back and talk Sydney
That's what they
Collingwood.
want.
That's what we want.
Yes, that's what we want.
Oh, we.
Underdogs.
There you go.
underdog.
Wait,
He's
he's a 23rd tonight.
Look at his
23rd.
laptop. It's covered in lines.
Oh, no.
It really is.
Nick Readiness
Grow
with us
up.
this morning. 8:49. Back with more next.
Collingwood v Sydney in Sydney. This is exciting for Sydney.
Oh, it's great.
This is an important game.
It is.
Prophetic.
In Sydney,
it's
you know?
huge. It's huge. I mean, anytime Sydney are playing in a really big game, like from a ratings point of view, this will go. This will go close to being the highest rating game of the year outside of the grand final because Collingwood are involved with Sydney.
Yeah, massive.
And it's just hard not to be drawn to this contest because when you have two teams that have delivered, like we talk about effort a lot, and I think a lot of people just think that, well, players go out and they give great effort every week. It's not the case because if you were at the Collingwood-Geelong game or you're at Sydney-Melbourne, you could see the difference between those games and the other finals, what it looks like when players are just maniacal in their approach to win the ball or get after the player with the ball. And both of these teams have shown a consistent ability to be able to do that and just deliver unbelievable effort for the entirety of a game. And when two teams are prepared to do that, it means that either of them can win. So this game is just so difficult to pick. The fact that Collingwood went up there is, 4 weeks ago, and Sydney smashed them in contest and clearance, and
That won't happen tonight.
well, that's been the issue for Collingwood. So they've won a lot of games in spite of the fact that their contest and clearance work hasn't been great. And Craig McRae's said the whole way through that eventually it's going to catch up with us. This corresponding game a month ago was the game where it caught up with them.
Yeah.
They couldn't win the ball. They didn't get many entries on the back of clearance, and then they couldn't shift the ball because Sydney defended them so well. So I would expect Sydney to try and deploy a similar type tactic that they did on the night, take away their time and space. But Collingwood know what's coming, so you've had an opportunity to prepare for that. So I'm so excited for this game. I've loved watching Collingwood play this year.
They're a different team.
They're a different team. I'm so impressed with their young players. To think that a guy like Jack Ginnivan started the year
With his GoPro gear.
with his GoPro
Yes.
and the criticism that he has endured throughout the year, and he's kicked 40 goals this year,
and he's a kid.
and
I gave him a tap early in the year.
yeah,
Because I
think
didn't like the GoPro stuff. But then I thought, you know what? He
it's
is a
different.
kid.
The game's different, but someone like Nick Dacos. So to see Nick Dacos, we showed some vision during the week. The way he walked out onto the grounds last week for the final. He had the big Ric Flairs going, he's yelling and laughing and carrying on.
They look happy.
And he's delivering at the highest level. He's 18 and he's playing like an 18-year-old with enjoyment. So they've got something special. The Swans are the same though. Like their kids have accelerated this team. So they're probably, are they there before their time? Like is that even a thing? But the reason they're there and they're favourites in a prelim, heavy favourites in a prelim, is because of the growth and emergence of their kids. Like they've got their superstars like Franklin and Parker and Heaney, but it's Warner and Rowbottom and Goulden and Blakey and all of these guys that are just so exciting to watch, which it just lends itself to a brilliant contest.
If Collingwood beat Sydney in Sydney, it makes a very stressful week, I would have thought, for the winner of Geelong Brisbane tonight, because that is a big win if Collingwood do that on the road.
I mean, the thought of a Geelong, say, Collingwood grand final, the town will go into meltdown. But that being said, Sydney, think about the grand finals that Sydney have been a part of, and they've been a part of a lot over the last 2 decades. They're very well supported down here. They play, and this is not to discount Brisbane either. I think they've got a big mountain to climb tonight. But I think whichever way it goes, whichever team wins this Collingwood Sydney final, they're gonna be great to watch on grand final day.
Well, we do enjoy
because they're going to be
Sydney.
playing a brand, and they are good to watch.
They
That's
are
the
good
thing
to
about
watch.
Swans.
Their
the
pressure
Swans.
is insane.
It's great, and they're a ball movement team now. So they've always been really hard to play against. Hard to watch because Dower, quite conservative. But the last 2 years, they've completely flipped it. So again, we credit Chris Scott for what he's been able to do, changing Geelong's game style. John Longmire, I mean, he's
just about to say, if he wins another flag, if he does, I mean, it really changes the story around him as well.
Yep.
Missed one with the Roo boys. He's won one as an assistant there. He's won one off his own bat.
Yep.
Lost 2 more after that.
And then here he could be with another one.
Yeah.
I mean,
unbelievable.
Fantastic.
Incredible coach. So, look, it's and the Swans have upside. So they beat Melbourne, Franklin goalless, Heaney quiet. A lot of their Warner didn't have a huge game, so they've got huge upside coming into this one. It's a flip of the coin for me. I know I'm not a punter or anything, but I think the Swans are heavy favourites. But
you got a few.
Unlike Lauren over here,
Yeah,
how do I get on this multi? And
Loz is trying to work out
Gamble
how to tip
responsibly.
Gamble responsibly.
Yeah, that's right.
1-800-858-858.
You got a few
Flip of the
cashies
coin.
lined up for next week?
Of course not.
Correct answer. Go well, mate. Thank you for all your
Good
work
morning
this
to
year.
the ATO.